Hi everyone, welcome to the Leo podcast. Today we have with us Hardik Singhal and myself Soni. We are filmmakers, we have worked together, and today we hope to have a good discussion on films and their impact on the world. So let's get started. Please tell us what inspired you to enter into the world of films.
Films itself, and it's a way of communicating and capturing a reality, and not just our reality, our own thoughts and processes, and also what we feel about others and ourselves too. So it can be fantasy, it can be reality, it can be a mixture of both, but mainly about ourselves and our envisioned selves.
Do you feel books might actually do a better job at that? I mean, let's look at something like Ajkal, a lot of people bring this thing that if you are creating some sort of a series, especially if it's on a OTT platform, then you need to have a sort of very diverse cast. You need to have white, you need to have black, you need to have Hispanic, you need to have somebody who's gay, you need to have somebody who's bisexual. But if you look at previous generations, or you look at even books written in the 17th century, 18th century, they didn't really have any such constraints. So do you think that because of that, this could lead to a decline in the quality and yeah, basically the quality of films or series that come up?
No, because first of all, we're not doing the past just because of the fact there was less medium to talk about. But now we have social media, so everything that movie releases, their critics and their fan bases, and then they are the people who talk about the movies. So I know a lot of people who are activists, and they talk and they take movies very seriously. If a person is talking about any black or white race or caste in India or religion in India, they take it very seriously because they know that it will reach to masses, and it is a way of, it's very political in a sense. So that is why the production the production houses are taking an easier route and are trying to make the cast more inclusive so it can reach to more people, and there would be no more such problem of activism and such resistance. But there are various stories of not in only this era, also the previous eras, which have talked about social issues of racism, of homophobia, of casteism in India, of religion in India, and they have been wonderful films. So it doesn't have to be that way. But what if the production houses are using it as an escape route, then of course it is a problem. But if you're taking a cast, that's a positive sign, and it's good for the overall community of not just filmmaking but as a society as well.
Continuing on the point you said about how films have become more political, about how every content that comes up, even for example, there was a very huge conflict when Prime Video released this series. I think it was called Tandav, in which they misrepresented something or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but a case was filed and all that stuff. So do you think people should try to remove that political aspect from films, because films were considered a mean of entertainment. I mean, even till the 21st century, beginning of 21st century, if you look at it, films were just seen as entertainment. But nowadays, people are trying to make it about something more. For example, when Uri was released just before Modi's re-election, people said that it was a complete propaganda film. But Uri was actually a pretty great film if you look at it. If you remove the political aspect from it, the storytelling, the way it was shot, the way the sound was done, very, very beautiful film. You don't really see that. So, do you think people need to understand that films are just for entertainment? They're a way for people to make money, and therefore should remove that political aspect from it?
See, this is ideal talk, okay? But you say this is, it's not possible, taking the political aspect. It is not just possible. Even if you are analyzing any movie from the 1950s or 1930s, you obviously talk about the World War and what happens, the effect of World War on the movies. So we can see a lot of movies that are affected by the World War, and there's a depressing cinema. So this particularly bicycle thieves, which is, which shows how Italy was devastated by the war, and it shows and what it exactly what it is famous for. So it's not that the political movies are starting to becoming right now. They were earlier as well. But the thing is right now is that there is a lot of social media and there is a lot of voice given to the people. So that is why a lot of resistance is there. Also, the thing that is there is the filmmakers can communicate their own things. Okay, so movie is just not analyzed on the basis of the movie itself, but also how it is propagated to the lot of propagated to the audience. Okay, like if a filmmaker or a director or a music director or a for an actor, if they make a comment about the movie, that itself becomes a thing to you know mention their state. And also there are restrictions, there are a lot of restrictions that are posed by the production houses and other media industries upon what to say and what not to say. This was particularly in when Deepika Padukone went to the JNU resistance, and a lot of backlash she received because of it, just because she went to the JNU protest. And her film Chapak, it got less revenue just because she participated in a political event. So this is the thing that is going on right now. And you can't make a movie apolitical. There is nothing that is apolitical. It is just that um, what portion of politic community you want to go with. Okay, because there will be resistance. Because I remember someone said in the Bollywood industry that if you want to make a film without any conflict in it, it will be a blank screen for 2 hours straight. And even at that, someone would comment that it is a bad movie.
Yeah,
So,
I heard that. Yeah.
so it's not that that conflict would not be there. It is just that what you're siding upon and why you're siding upon. As I said earlier, that the inclusion of the movies is there because they don't want any resistance to it. But if they are including just because of the fact they actually want to do that, they actually want to diversify, then it is good. So what they are doing and why they are doing is very important right now.
Right. So how if you are a filmmaker, you have written some scripts also. So how do you break apart from this, political ambitions that most filmmakers sometimes have? How do you write a film knowing that okay, it might get picked on, but this is something that I really want to talk about, and how do you then go ahead support it no matter what people say?
And that is the part of the job. Okay, if you are a artist or call yourself a filmmaker, then it is part of your job. Okay, a great example would be from a Bollywood industry would be Anubhav Singhal. Okay, so Anubhav Singh is a maker of Article 15 as well as Thappad and as well as Mulk. And in the past, he has made films like Ravan as well. And Ravan is not a movie that intellectual people will discuss about. It's a
Correct.
purely entertainment business. Everybody knows about that. But now, when he shifted from entertainment business to political movies or social driven movies, he received a lot of backlash. Okay, backlash. Sorry. So that is there. Okay, that every person, no matter how established they are, they will receive, and you should be, you know, ready to receive it with all your hands. Okay, because that in a way also knows it's a parameter that whether your content is right or not. If it the greater the resistance is, that you have created a greater content. So it's also a kind of a motivator. In the starting it would not look like a motivator, but it is.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. You get motivated by, as I think Taylor Swift had said that you make a house by the stones thrown at you from your oppressors, basically. So yeah,
Yes, yes.
okay. So again, filmmaking is a pretty laborious job. I mean, you sometimes have to be on set for more than 20 hours. You have to really keep going till you get that proper set because there's a lot of money on the line. There's a lot of people on the line. So how do you keep yourself motivated? How much patience do you think is required, and how do you deal with all of that?
See, first of all, if you want to going to be a filmmaker, okay, you have to. It's like a, it's a pain. It's a pain-taking process. It's right from the idea that pre-production starts till the last edit and the release of the film. It's a laborious process. It's a pain process. But remember that every job is, be it a chartered accountant, be a lawyer, or a filmmaker, the thing is same. Okay, people imagine that the creative people are are having fun and it's very glittery. It's not.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
very
really not.
it's it,
Yeah.
it's very laborious and you have to be very calculative as well. It's not that it's all from heart. Of course, things are there and there should be from heart, and it should be about art. But there, the calculation and how do you want to manage things, that goes as well. And now, if you want to be a filmmaker, you have to realize these things that first of all, it's a business. Okay, it's a managerial job. Okay, you're making a political comment. It's technical and it's
Okay.
art. Okay, so there are five things that are involved in filmmaking. When you're taking a normal job, you have to normally deal with the one aspect. Okay, but in here in filmmaking, you have to deal with at least five of them. Okay, I'm not talking about even the rest of them. Okay, so these five aspects you have to cover. And you have to, when you're in there, you have to realize this, that these all aspects have to be covered. Okay, and now when you are ready, okay, when no a person would never be ready with for these five things. Okay, if I'll just give them a job description. So what motivates you is the story itself, the reason that why you want to tell the story. Okay, so it can be as simple as a story of there was just recently there was a story of a girl drinking juice, of a housewife drinking juice in front of their patriarchal husbands.
The
That was
Husbands. Yes, I saw that. It's a short film. It's by Royal Stack Films. Yes, it's on YouTube. Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's a short film, and it got Filmfare Award as well. The Juice is it is called,
Yeah.
and it's not a very big or very drastic, like very cinematic idea. I will not say cinematic idea. I would say very dramatic idea. I would say. So how do you convert that small? It's a small story, okay, but that too would require at least 180 people in your crew, ranging from the costume makers, from the caterers, from the light, from the graphers, from the cameraman is okay. One is there, spot by continuity boys, a lot of people, and you have to maintain. You have to manage all of them. You have to manage the technology. You have to manage your vision as well. And the actors are there. You have to take care of their food, of their vanity. Then there is most important of all, the story. So all of these things you have to basically you are juggling with on a unicycle with all of the balls in your hand. But you have to do that, and you will do that if you have the motivation to tell your story.
But do you feel that nowadays a lot of the films that I looked at least the short films, which are by amateurs, which are by indie people who are just starting out or who don't have a lot of experience, I feel that they put much more emphasis on cinematography, on making that film, strike out or look beautiful rather than the story. Do you think that's true?
See, cinematography, when you say cinematography is not visually appealing, okay? Cinematography refers to visual storytelling. Visually appealing, you can leave it to the Photoshop, okay? There is Photoshop, there is a After Effects, you can do that, okay?
Yes, not
That is,
sure.
it's not about visually appealing, okay? When you're talking about cinematography, it is about visual storytelling. How do you tell the story visually, okay? Where do you place the camera? What is the composition? What colors are you using? When you're moving the camera, when the camera is still, and at which point, and there are a lot of trial and error stuff and a lot of intuition stuff that goes into it. It is not at all about visually appealing. There are a lot of films which are not visually appealing, but they are good films, and not just fiction films. I'm talking about documentary as well. I just got introduced to a Chile documentary film in which it was about some civil war that happened in Chile, and and that cinematographer gets actually killed. He gets actually killed in that movie. It's not actually visually appealing, but it is telling how gory the situation was, and it got restored much earlier. But it's not about visually appealing; it's about visual storytelling and how much do you want to tell the story and how do you use the camera to tell the story. A lot of times when I see indie films or just films on YouTube on or Vimeo or any other Netflix, Prime Video, or any other platform, they don't use the camera. They don't use the camera at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
They just putting the camera and just leaving it to reel. But when you go back at the starting of the film, a reel was a very expensive thing, and a very every shot has to be calculated. So you see previous movies that are actually not edited, okay, like not edited in the sense that they could not see what the film is all about. They had to they are shot at once, and then they after in the post production they would see what actually that film. So 12 Angry Men was such one movie, okay, that they had to do everything in post production, but it's a beautifully short film just because the calculation that they are done and they have realized the importance of the camera work. So I
Exactly.
see a
The
lot.
use of lenses, particularly in that film, is what shaped the rest of the films also that followed it. The way they showed, how telephoto lenses, how they were trying to give you that feeling of entrapment, even though it was just shot in one room. That's brilliant. And if you look at nowadays, the film, they're so horrible. Even the music videos, they don't make any sense. And it's just because there is so much content nowadays. Everywhere you look, there are so many OTT platforms. There is almost a platform by each of the major production houses, not just in India, but even abroad. So, because there is so much content that they can put out, they're doing it. And because of that, all directors who don't have anything much to say, but they do know how to get the job done, they get that job done, which is not really done well. So I think that's one of the major disadvantages of OTT platform. Or like for example, this film was released called Kate. It released on Netflix, I think a week back or so, and it's basically about this assassin who gets poisoned and she has 24 hours to figure it out. It was such a typical story. There was nothing great film work. It was just action. It was shot in Japan, and that's basically it. It was so cliched. Everybody knew what was going to happen. I was not even excited about the ending. Like when I stopped, I was like, do I really even want to continue? So that is, I think, one of the biggest problems that has happened with OTT platforms. You have so much content, and people are ready to put out anything, and they're doing that. They know that this formula will work. People will watch it, and it's in trending even now. If you look at it in Netflix top 10 trending, it's there, which is very sad because it's not a good movie. But there are other good films on Netflix like The Bridge on the River Kwai, and it's not getting any attention at all. So I think that's very sad.
See, you need to realize that um, for a lot of the people they don't want to watch actually something quality. Okay, they want to actually watch something they want to actually watch just having their dinner or their lunch and just watching it. They are not even actually paying attention to the frames, and that is all right if they want to do it. See, it's also a choice when you're a filmmaker. What kind of filmmaker do you want to be? Because they are mindless, big production houses filmmaker as well, and they are very humble and very genius minded people as well who have not much money to spend but are making good movies. And there are also people who make great movies and have money, and there are also people who don't have money and make bad films. So like there is a whole spectrum of filmmakers, okay, in which spectrum, in which range do you want to fit is totally up to you, okay. And one thing that is here is important is then you choose your audience as well. The moment that you choose your filmmaker, that you're going to be this type of filmmaker, and you choose your film, then choose your audience as well. But that type of audience trend may or may not go up or down depending upon various situations, okay. For example, if we see the audience of rural India settings, okay, was not much in 2010. But now we can see movies even on Netflix or on Prime Videos are going more towards movies out of rural India. So that audience of rural India got expanded, okay, over the years. So it will change, but a filmmaker should, realize that what type of audience he's going for, he or she is going for, and it's very important. And another point that you were saying about OTT platform, see, it is not like that, that they are making bad movies, okay. First of all, you need to realize this is a business, okay. This is a business for people, okay. For many people, this is a business, and they will treat it as a business, okay. So there's various businesses in in Fortune 500 companies which actually do not serve society or humanity. If you take, but they're still making profits, and they're large, large MNCs that have GDP of more than any country that is there. See, one more thing that is there is it will always be there. The majority of the crowd that is there is not driven by intelligence and by other factors. So it is totally up to you what do you want to do.
Yeah. So you started off filmmaking by writing script. So how do you know if your script has reached a stage at which you can go out and create it into a film? How do you make those decisions?
In short, I would say you never do. Okay, in short, you never do. And the expanded answer would be, you have to work. Okay, so either each sentence that you write or each word even that you write, you have to go over it about at least 6 times. Okay, at least 6 times. I don't see that people doing that. If you're going to make any movie for that, okay, it can be as simple as making a video of your birthday, of your friend's birthday, or an anniversary video, anything that you want to do, okay, you have to go over and over it. It's hard work. At the end of the day, it's a hard work, and you have to do it. And another thing that is there, when I know, for example, when I know that my script is good enough, is when I've learned something writing that thing. If you are, if you have learned something writing that thing about the character, about the story, or about the situation, or how we can deal it in another manner, if you've learned something while doing that thing, then it is successful for me. For I'm telling about myself, okay. For me, that is when that it's a good piece, that I have done my best and I've surpassed myself, and then I've gained something. So that is how you do that, and you keep on doing that, okay. Keep on doing that, and then you become something of that. You have to say some, then you have then you have something to say. That is what is all important is. You might not become something, okay. It's all right, there are a lot of people. Vivian Myers is there, Vincent van Gogh was there, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of painters, a lot of artists that are not recognized in their entire lifetime. Franz Kafka was there. Many are there, and many still are there, but you keep on doing that because there is something inside you that says that yes, it's a good thing, okay. And it's a voice that cannot be cannot be forced,
Forced.
okay. It comes naturally, okay. It will come naturally, and you will know that this is the thing.
When you're on set, you have to handle a lot of people, like you could have a crew of around 10, 20 people. I'm talking about a short film. And even the cast, you might have 3, 4 people. So how do you handle when people are not professionals? For example, if you have an actor who's not ready to listen to you, who thinks that the character has to go in a different direction than what you had envisioned, even when you have written the script. So obviously, you might know more about the character. So how do you talk to them? How do you persuade them? How do you convince them? How do you go with the flow? Okay, I think that was a lot of information for one video. We'll be uploading the next video tomorrow, so do look out for that. Do like, share, and subscribe, and comment what topic you would like us to cover. So until next time, Kanishka.